All right, I'm calling the meeting of the Planning and Stakeholders Committee, Stakeholder Relations Committee to order. And will the committee members identify themselves, because I don't recall who's on this committee.
Andrew Borick.
Joe Todd.
Stephanie Terman.
Okay, thank you all. Other board members want to identify themselves?
Lori Musgorski.
Michelle
Joe
Smeaner.
Todd.
Jen Liptak.
Okay, thanks. All right, the first order of business is approval of the minutes of the prior meeting. Can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that'll be moved on to the full board. Those minutes are approved. Next is the bus line redesign. Who's making that presentation? Hello? Anybody at the Port Authority ready to make this presentation?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Ellie Newman. I'm the Assistant Director of Planning and Service Development, and I will be running through the public launch of our bus line redesign project this morning. So what exactly is the bus line redesign, or bus network redesign? So it's a chance for us to rethink our entire bus network. This is something that we haven't truly done for a number of years. This is going to be a comprehensive redesign, and it's a priority project that came out of our Next Transit long-range plan as a priority project from the public. This is something that most transit agencies do somewhat often, maybe every 15 years or so. Many of our sister agencies and other cities have done one recently. Is especially needed given the change in travel patterns from the pandemic. Our system was really built to get people from suburbs into downtown and back again. That's not really the most common travel pattern anymore. So this gives us a chance to rethink where all of our routes go and design a system that better reflects where people are trying to get to. At the end of this project, we're hoping to come up with a new network that achieves a few different goals. One is to promote ridership and hopefully shift some people away from cars onto transit. Another is, assuming the public agrees that this is one of the main goals, to increase access to frequent transit. So the number of people that can catch a bus every 10 or 15 minutes as opposed to every 30 minutes. We'd like our network to be simpler, one that's easy to learn and use, and one that promotes equity, make sure that our most transit-reliant neighborhoods have some of the best service and best route connectivity in our system. This is a look at our schedule. So this is quite a lengthy project. We're expecting it to take 21 months, and it won't wrap up until something like March of 2025. So this allows us to kind of slow roll it and have a lot of opportunities for public input, feedback. This slide kind of highlights in yellow the different times when we're going to be going back to the public to kind of level set and make sure that you're doing the right things. So with this public launch, the phase that we're in right now, we're both gathering data on existing conditions, and we're also telling people that we're doing this and getting as much input as we can in terms of what people would like to see out of the new system. Next year, we're going to be focusing on actually developing some new route concepts. Then we'll take those back to the public in late summer, early fall of 2024. We'll have a lot of kind of back and forth at that point, and then we'll take things back to the drawing board and come up with a final plan. The existing conditions data analysis. So here's some of the things that we're going to be pulling in. We'll be looking at our population demographics and trends, how things change in the last couple decades. Where might some new job centers be that didn't exist 25 years ago? We'll be looking at cell phone travel data. So typically we only know where people ride our buses, but we can also look at where people are driving to through this new data source and see, can we shift some of those driving trips onto transit? And then we'll also be looking at how the existing network performs. Do we have some routes that are pretty much perfect as is and should be preserved? Or are there certain routes that maybe could be tweaked or improved in other ways? We have a lot of previous data on public comments and service requests. We have a data set that we've been collecting of public requests for the last 4 or 5 years. Those will all feed into it. We have other plans that we've been collecting feedback from the public over the last several years. So if you've ever said anything to PRT in the last few years, we'll have that information. Thank you. And then planned capital projects too. So if we're doing a major station redesign, that will also fall into the plans. Then for our public engagement, I said today is our public launch with this committee. We later have a stakeholder advisory committee, which is many of the major employers and other groups around the county, so that they can learn about the project and put in their 2 cents. We'll be doing a lot of in-person outreach for the next 2 months. So we have 24 pop-up events all over the county, trading in the central, north, the east, west, south, basically everywhere we should be seen through that. We're going to be going on a road show at all of our operating divisions so that our bus operators and the ATU members can comment on the plan as well. And then we'll have lots of online engagement. We'll be doing a survey. We'll have some larger online public meetings in later November so that people can comment. And we'll have a very active website with lots of content and opportunities for people to comment. Anyone have any questions?
This is a great project, and thank you for presentation. It's very exciting to see the planning process in action like this. Any questions from anybody? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
That actually concludes the Planning and Stakeholder Relations Committee, and so turning it over to Ann O'Gork, as Chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you. We'll give everyone a second to organize their paperwork. Okay, calling to order the Finance Committee for October 17th, 2023. I will start with a roll call of committee members. Member Liptak, are you present?
Here.
Representative Piscatano. Committee member Totten.
Here.
All other board members, please identify yourselves.
Jeff Letwin.
Stephanie Turman.
Michelle Smianik.
Allie Doyle.
Lori Mizgorski. Thanks. Our first item of business is approval of minutes of the September 21st Finance Committee meeting. Are there any comments or questions or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Minutes are approved. Okay, we only have one other item of business today. That's a review of the September 2023 financial statements.
Good morning, Madam Chair and other board members. My name is Dominica Brown, and I'm the acting Chief Financial Officer. We'll start with the passenger revenue trends. As with previous months, working teams monitor the growth in passenger revenue, and this graph just shows that there's still continued improvement as in previous months. Operating revenue is about $300,000 less than budgeted. The major reasons for that is lower revenue in taxes and fares. For operating expenses, the total expense in September is $3.7 million below budget. The main drivers for that include benefits. Also, wages are lower due to vacant positions and lower expected employee benefit costs. For subsidies in September, the subsidies are a bit higher than budgeted. State operating assistance is the reason for that, just due to timing differences. For fiscal year to date, for revenues, they are about $500,000 higher than budgeted, and that is due to higher interest income as well as fares. For expenses, we're about $13.9 million below the budget. A quarter of that is due to lower wages and benefits. Benefits drive that variance about $3 million lower than what we initially budgeted. For subsidies for fiscal year to date, we are about $600,000 higher, and that is also due to state operating assistance timing differences. When we look at our federal stimulus usage, we're down to our last pilot person funds with $16.1 million spent thus far, with a balance of $127.7 million. Our operating revenues began at $165.8 million in September. During the month of September, we had cash receipts of $95.7 million. $56.8 million of that were state operating assistance funds. Cash outflows for the month of September total $50.9 million. PRT's operating reserves at the end of September are about $310.6 million. And that is all that I have. Are there any questions?
Any questions from committee members? Any questions from other board members? Okay, thank you. Okay, short but sweet. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All right, we stand adjourned and we'll see you. It's over. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Smianik, and welcome to the Performance Oversight Committee. Our first
Hey,
item of business.
Michelle, can I interrupt you for a second, John?
JT, you can always interrupt me. What's up? Glad to see you.
Well, I'm on. I had trouble getting on, but I'm on. So I'm not sure what we did with the planning stakeholders relations report.
We had
I
Chairman
took care of it, John.
Okay, so you don't need me?
We always need you. But the report's been done. The committee met and is adjourned, so you're good for that.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that, Jeff. I apologize again for missing the meeting, so thank you.
I did it.
for missing your own meeting. You're forgiven in some way. All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to call the Performance Oversight Committee meeting to order. And would our committee members please state your name for the record?
Lori Mizgorski.
And do we have Representative Nick here this morning? Okay, Lori, it's just the two of us for now. Hopefully Nick will join us. Other members, please state your name for the record.
Chef Letland.
John Tagg.
Joe Totten.
Anna Gore.
Okay,
Ally
very good,
Doyle.
everyone. Oh, Ally, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Thank you, Ally.
You're good.
That concludes our roll call then for this morning. Item 2, approval of minutes for the September 21st Performance Oversight Committee meeting. Are there any corrections, amendments to our committee minutes? If
I
there
don't
are
have
none,
any.
then- Very good. And we don't have Nick. Mr. Chair, did you have anything when you reviewed our minutes? Otherwise, we're going to ask for a motion to move on.
Yeah, we're
So
good.
moved. So moved.
And I'll second that motion. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Very good. Thank you very much. Item 3, proposed resolutions. Awarding of bids with Ms. Jermaine Ward. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. I have 4 items to present to you this morning for consideration and approval for full board recommendation. Number 1 is a change order to our current revenue contract for lease and operations of our Wabash parking facility. At its September 2020 meeting, the board authorized PRT to enter into a contract with PPG Public Parking to lease our PRT-owned Wabash HOV parking facility that's located on West Parsons Street.
And this was to provide operations in our day-to-day maintenance services for public parking at this facility. The initial base term of the contract was for a period of 2 years through December 31st of 2022 for the total rent in amount of $156,000 that was payable in equal monthly installments by PPG Public Parking to PRT over a 2-year term. Included in this contract is a 1-year option period to extend the contract at PRT sole discretion with set escalated rental amounts if these options are exercised. At its September 2022 meeting, the board authorized PRT to exercise its first option year to extend the term of the contract through December 31st of 2023. Currently, PRT staff are recommending to exercise the second 1-year option year period to extend the term of the contract through December 31st of 2024 for the total rental amounts of $96,000 payable by PPG Public Parking to enter. That's going to be paid to PRT in equal monthly installments. To date, the contractor has satisfactorily provided the operational and maintenance services required under this contract. So therefore, it is our recommendation that a contract be amended with PPG Public Parking to exercise the second option year period to extend the term of the contract through December 31st of 2024 for the total rental amount of $96,000 payable in equal monthly installments. I do want to note here that due to the significant impacts from the COVID-19 pandemic on the parking garages and the lot utilization in downtown Pittsburgh and the North Shore areas, that some of the rents otherwise due to PRT under this lease has been partially forgiven. And those forgiven rents have been reimbursed to PRT's operating budget via the federal COVID-19 stimulus funds. Full rental payments proceeded as of May of 2023. Number two and three, these next two items, they were publicly advertised and were distributed through PRT's e-business system. Number two is for manufactured new exchange turbochargers. 2 firms accepted this invitation and 2 bids were received to provide turbo chargers utilized in the maintenance of PRT's bus fleets over a 3-year period. This will also be utilized at PRT's central storeroom. Therefore, it is our recommendation that a contract be awarded to the lowest responsive bidder, Cummins Inc., in the estimated total amount of $1,080,479.74. This price represents a 37% increase over the previous contract prices 2 years ago. And this is due to inflation of the pricing of the materials and some of the unforeseen price increases for the manufacturers to manufacture these turbochargers. Staff has determined the pricing to be fair and reasonable and consistent with the funds budgeted. Number 3 is for bus HVAC return filters. 3 bids. 3 firms accepted the invitations and 3 bids were received for the purchase of these bus HVAC return filters utilized in our maintenance of the PRT's bus fleets over a 2-year period. Therefore, it is our recommendation that a contract be awarded to the lowest responsive bidder, Thermo's King of Pittsburgh Inc., an estimated amount of $277,900. This price represents a 56% increase over the previous contract from these items 2 years ago. There was a substantial inflation increase in the cost of materials required
for these filtration systems that are being manufactured. And we did our assessment, and the second lowest bid was consistent in line with this price as well. Therefore, staff has determined that the price is fair and reasonable and consistent with the funds budgeted. And then number 4 is the purchase. This PRT wishes to make a municipal work vehicle purchase under the terms and conditions of the respective co-stars state schedule contract that was awarded to Jim Shorty, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Fiat. This contract is effective at least through August 4th of 2024, and PRT wishes to purchase 6 Ram 5500 cab and chassis crew trucks under the same terms and conditions of the contract. This purchase will replace current non-revenue vehicles, which have reached the end of their useful life expectancy and will be utilized at various PRT locations for a 1-year period. Therefore, it is our recommendation that a contract be awarded under the same terms and conditions of this PA co-stars contract for the municipal work vehicles with Jim Shorty Chrysler. Staff has determined that the price is considered fair and reasonable under the current Pennsylvania state schedule and consistent with the funds budgeted. If there aren't any further questions, I am respectfully asking for all items to be moved to the board for recommendation.
Very good. Thank you, Charmaine. Do any of the Performance Oversight Board members have questions or
No.
comments on these issues?
Thank
Do
you
other
for the
board
report.
members- Do other board members have questions or comments? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to move this forward to the full board.
So moved.
Seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Jermaine. Thank you for that comprehensive
Thank you.
report. Thank you. Moving on to item B, authorization to extend agreements for temporary, technical, and clerical support services with Inez Cologne. Gee, you don't look like it. Hi, Mike.
I jumped the gun. I forgot these. I apologize. Let me get some assignments and I will do all that.
Good, if you- Thank you. Good morning.
I was having second thoughts here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members and attendees. Thanks, Mike. The resolution before you is seeking authorization to extend and amend agreement RFP 1904 with a pool of firms to provide technical and temporary clerical support services. In November 2019, Port Authority of Allegheny County, the DBA, Pittsburgh Regional Transit Board, following the issuance of the said RFP, authorized the award of an agreement with Infogenie Incorporated, Fiskbrider Incorporated, Global Solutions Group Incorporated, RadGov Incorporated, and Atrium Staffing LLC contractors to perform services including but not limited to providing PRT with temporary technical and temporary clerical support services on an as-needed basis to address employee absences, vacancies, and additional workload for an initial term of 3 years and in total not to exceed amount of $1 million. Each one of the agreements also had the ability of adding 2 additional years at the sole discretion of PRT. In September 2022, the board approved the exercise of the first option year with the contrast, with all the contractors, with the exception of RadGov Incorporated, and this vendor was unresponsive, which is the reason why he excluded them, and extended the term of the agreement to November 30th, 2023, with no increase to the total not to exceed amount. Based on the services thus far from all of the contractors, and they have performed satisfactorily and in accordance with the agreement, PRT has decided that it is in our best interest to once again exercise the second option year and extend the term of the agreements to November 30th, 2024, with no increase to the total not to exceed amount. Madam Chair, I respectfully request that you approve and advance this resolution to the board.
Very
Are there
good.
any
Thank you.
questions?
I know, you know, some of my favorite words are no increase to the total not to exceed amount. So it's one of my favorites. Hooray. Thank you for that.
Thank
Any
you.
questions from thank you, from Performance Oversight board members?
No, I agree. I like no additional costs, definitely.
Well, I think you'll enjoy the fact that we've only spent only $500,000 of that number in 5 years. So that's a testament to PRT and our employees coming together to get the job done.
Thank you for that. Any questions from other board members for Inez before she leaves the podium here? Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Lori, can I have a motion to move this forward to the full board?
So moved.
I'm going to second that. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Moving on to item C with Mike Setra. Mike, I'm so happy to see you back. We're going to enter into agreements with a pool of firms to provide legal services. And this seems like your favorite item this morning. You're just happy to be with us.
Yes, good morning, Madam Committee Chairwoman, committee members, and other board members. I am clearly very excited about the one resolution that I had for your consideration this morning that would authorize a award of agreements to a pool of law firms to provide PRT legal services. Consistent with our procurement policies, PRT issued RFP number 2314, seeking a pool of up to 5 law firms to provide PRT legal representation and services in 11 fields of law, including public liability defense, public sector procurement, real estate and environmental law, and right to know law and related records production matters. A total of 10 proposals were received by the advertised June 30th, 2023 submission deadline. An evaluation committee consisting of a cross-functional group, including representatives from our legal, human resources, planning, and finance division, evaluated all the proposals received. And if we could go to the next slide, please. Hopefully it's readable here. Thank you to Jeffrey for helping me increase my font size. You'll see here, this mirrors Exhibit A in your resolution packets this morning, and this shows on the left-hand side, you have the 10 firms. And then where you see the X designations up to 11 fields of law, that represents the recommended pool of firms that the committee is recommending awards to in each field of law. Additionally, and consistent with the RFP, the evaluation committee also recommends that the law firm of East Wallace and Norick LLC serve as PRT board solicitor as the highest rated proposal in the general municipal legal and agency governance field of law. And that the law firm of Campbell Durant PC serve as primary outside labor counsel as the highest rated proposer in the labor contract negotiation, application, and related labor matters field of law. The proposed agreements would be for a primary term of 5 years, with PRT retaining the option to extend the term of each agreement up to 3 additional years, and also retaining the ability, of course, to terminate the agreements before PRT's convenience or needs would change in the future. Subject to any questions that members may have, I would respectfully and enthusiastically, I suppose, here request that the committee recommend this resolution to the full board approval.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Setra. I lost my screen here, so can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So do we have any questions from our board members for Mr. Setra on any items? Any questions from other board members for Mr. Setra? Hearing none, Lori, can I have a motion to move this forward to the full board?
So moved.
And I'm going to second that. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to our final item of the day, item D, authorization to amend agreements for general planning services with Derek Dauphin. And I'm hoping that that is Derek at the podium because I cannot see anyone.
It is, yeah. Good morning, committee and board members.
All right.
So this
Good
was-
morning. Thank you.
This is a resolution to actually, to amend the not to exceed for a contract, our general planning services contract with Michael Baker and HDR. On the screen, you can see that the agreements were authorized in July 2021. The not to exceed of $4,805,514. This contract runs through October 2024 with additional 2 option years. For folks not as familiar with this contracts, these are the support contracts for long-range planning efforts, including stationary and corridor plans, the strategic plan, bus line redesign, facilities master plan, and PRT related efforts, guidelines, this kind of things. So at this time, an increase with the not to exceed is needed due to additional projects and grants. And fairly successful in getting new grant awards in the last couple of years that we like to spend through these contracts. So the resolution would increase the not to exceed amount by $2 million to $6,805,514. This will allow the contractor to perform services to existing agreements, and it would not change the agreement terms. So, are any of the questions? I would recommend committee approve this and send it forward to the board for final approval.
Thank you. I have no questions. Lori, do you have questions or comments?
I have no questions at this time.
Do our other board members have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. Now, this would include the bus line redesign project, right? That would be included in this contract as well?
That's right.
Because that was a question I was going to ask earlier in the day, but anyways, I figured I'd ask it now. So thank you for that answer.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Lori, can I have a motion to move this forward to the whole board for the agreements for general planning services, please?
Yes, so moved.
I'm going to second that motion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to the full board. And I believe we are at the end of our agenda, and I'll just have a motion that will conclude our meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for helping with performance oversight. And we have continue with another meeting. And I'm going to stay on for as long as I have power. I think we have power issues in the neighborhood. So thank you, everyone. I think technology is next.
Yes, good morning, everyone. This is Jen Liptak. I'm here for the Technology Committee. I'll give everyone a minute to get their agendas together. Actually, that was less than a minute, but close enough. I'm going to start with a roll call. I'm going to call the order and start with a roll call. Representative, Ms. Gorski,
Present.
Mr. Totten.
Present.
Thank you. Any other board members, will you please identify yourself for the record?
Jeff Fletwin,
John Tagg.
Ally Doyle.
Anna Borg.
Michelle.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. The first item of business is, do we have minutes? Yeah, is the approval of the minutes for the September 21st, 2023 Technology Committee meeting. May I have a motion and a second, please, for approval?
So moved.
Second.
House second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have awarding of the bids. So that's the first item up. So can we please proceed?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. I have 2 items to present to you today to take a recommendation for the full board. Number 1 is our automatic passenger count system. At its July 23rd, 2021 meeting, the board authorized a contract with Dialect Systems, Inc. to provide PRT with design, install, and test and operations of an automatic passenger count system for our light rail vehicles. This is to collect the passenger count information and calculate transit ridership data. The initial contract was for 19 months. Following a administratively issued time extension to the contract for an additional 6 months, The contract was currently set to expire, and PRT has determined that it's in our best interest to extend the term of the contract up to, for an additional 1 year to complete the testing, implementation, and the necessary changes to successfully obtain accurate information and calculate the calculations of the transit ridership and passenger count data. Dialects has completed the design and installation and began the testing for the passenger count information. So therefore, it is our recommendation that a contract term extension with Dialect Systems Inc. is executed for 1 additional year through September 30th, 2024 to ensure the satisfactory completion of the remaining work. Number 2, this bid was publicly advertised and documents were distributed through PRT's e-business system. 2 bids were received for the SysAid support services, which will be utilized to support PRT's help desk platform over a 3-year period. It is our recommendation that a contract be awarded to the lowest responsive bidder, V Prime Tech Inc., in an estimated amount of $106,136.08. There has been no previous contract for these services, but PRT staff has determined that the pricing will be fair, reasonable, and consistent with the funds budgeted. I do want to note that this is actually, after assessing the price, this is actually 9% lower than what we had anticipated the budget for. If there are no further questions, I respectfully ask for both of these items to be taken to the full board for recommendation.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions of board members on these items? Hearing none. Any questions of the remaining board members? Okay, thank you. Hearing none, I'll accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
And a second, please.
Second. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. So now we'll move on to the resolutions. We have, I think Jim Ritchie's doing the first and Inez is doing the second, correct?
Yes, good morning.
Thanks.
I'm here to introduce a resolution that would authorize the extension and amendment of our agreement to provide hosted interactive voice response services. The IVR system, this is our customer service phone system. So when you call our customer service line at 412-442-2000, the system that greets you and that you hear on the line is our IVR system. It's available to customers 24/7, 365. It provides, on the automated side of the system, it provides next trip and connect card account information. Customers always have the opportunity to connect to a live agent at any time that they're on that phone, as long as they're during business hours. To give you a sense as to the volume that the system handles each year. So far this year through September, we've received about 105,000 total calls, and about a third of those go through the automated side of the IVR system, about 36,000. And the remainder have people want to speak to live agents that want that self-help with their clients about the issue that they're experiencing. Board originally approved this contract with Bench House Transportation in December 2017. This was a 5-year agreement, not to exceed amount of $1,153,579 with free option years. In November, the board authorized the first U.S. option years, which extended the agreement through December 19th of this year. And what we're recommending is that we exercise the second option year for Bench House. This will extend the term to December 19, 2024. It will increase the total.
Detected that a few lines are still connected to the conference and will attempt to disconnect them. If you wish to reach the conference, please press *1.
Okay, thank you. Please continue, Jim.
Sure. we're recommending that the board exercise the section, approve the exercising of the second option here, which would extend the term to December 19th, 2024, and increase the total not to exceed amount by $132,676. This would increase the total for the entire agreement not to exceed amount to $1,402,250. I'm happy to answer any questions. So
Thank you very much for your presentation. Are there any questions of committee members?
It's John. I have a question. Does this tie into AI at all? I mean, there's been so much talk about that, so I wonder if there's some tie-in here or not, Jim.
You're getting Jeff's not here to save me for this question, John, but it's a voice response system. So the way the system is designed, it's supposed to recognize speech and what the words are asking as you verbalize it into the system, and that respond in an appropriate way. So that's how the system is designed. That's how it's really termed, as a voice response system.
So it doesn't sound like there's any AI component of this right now.
If there is, I'm not aware of it. Sure.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, thanks. Are there any other questions of members of the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second. Thanks. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then we're going to move on to our final resolution. I believe Inez is up.
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, and attendees. Resolution before you is to enter into an agreement to provide Oracle PeopleSoft training services. Okay, the services include but are not limited to establishment of training objectives and measurements of effectiveness, developing of training courses and associated material, and conducting courses. I need to mention that the Oracle system is the system of record for HR as well as finance. Request for proposal number 2306 detailed the required services, was prepared and publicly advertised on July 25th, 2023, resulting in 2 proposals received within the deadline of August 25th, 2023. The proposals were reviewed by the evaluation committee utilizing the rating criteria outlined in the RFP, and the proposal submitted by Spear MC Consulting, Inc. has been determined to be the highest rated proposal for performing said services. A total not to exceed amount of $200,000 will be allocated on an as-needed basis for the initial 3-year term of the agreement, and I'm seeking approval of same, and also with an option to extend the agreement up to 2 additional years at the sole discretion of PRT. Madam Chair, respectfully request your approval of this resolution and advancing it to the full board. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. I'll entertain questions from committee members. No, is there any question from board? No, I am familiar with this system, so yeah, I appreciate you guys continuing to develop it. Inez, good job. So I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion.
And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, I believe that's the end of our business for today, for the Technology Committee meeting. And am I correct, Mr. Setra, that there's no more committee meetings for the day?
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you, everyone. So our meetings for the PRT committees are adjourned for the day, as well as the Technology Committee is adjourned. And I thank everyone, members of the board and members of the public and staff for their participation. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Bye.